'cause I'm on one.
You know, we have ones that's Ras Tafari, live in the city, Kingston City, Manhattan, like I, you know, we live amongst our universal brothers and sisters, and Rastafari is for each and every one. So it's not a...
Swinging for the fences for the home run.
Habesha, Begusana, guess the Ethiopia. Habesha, Mr. Shomaya, the Farambasa. Habesha.
Even further beyond into the universe, but I've got to make it to first.
Urgent message from the 12 seers of Mount Zion. They said the black nation will be blessed by God in these days. Circle the mountain and go home. Shabbat, Mount Zion calling me.
And of course now to catch up on some good old U.S. politics. Just to sort of say, again, we mentioned so many things before as far as the entire impeachment process and things that, you know, were to transpire and were projected to go on within this entire procedural hearing. You know, again, we just wanted to make sure that we put ones on notice of things that were going on and everything around the situation that actually, you know, propelled what we're seeing out here in the media today. So here, coming to Politico and giving an update of the things that have been going on, and of course leading up to a lot of the presidential campaigning that's on both sides of the fence, whether that be Republican or Democrat in that sense of the two main parties here in the United States. But here in Politico, entitled Trump was acquitted, but didn't get exactly what he wanted. Subtitled here, the president pushed for a flashy, testimony-filled impeachment trial to embarrass Democrats and vindicate himself. And this report out of Politico comes from a one Anita Kumar. And, you know, very interesting read here for those who may have had some interest in what was going on with the impeachment process. But continuing on here, President Donald Trump's aides got what they wanted, a quick, drama-free impeachment trial, but it's not the trial Trump wanted. Ever the showman, Trump had pushed for a flashy, testimony-filled trial to embarrass Democrats and vindicate himself, even if he is ultimately pleased with how the trial has gone. He mused about testifying himself and or maybe just taking a front row seat and watching. The Senate on Wednesday voted to acquit Trump without calling witnesses. It's an outcome that the White House has pushed for, but one that some Trump allies say could cause the president to lash out and say, quote unquote, "I told you so," as he starts seeing cable news coverage of Democrats and even some Republicans lamenting that the trial format was broken, riven by bipartisanship, and incapable of delivering a true verdict on Trump's behavior. If that's the lion's share of the media coverage, sure, he won't like that coverage, said Matt Schlapp, a Trump supporter and chairman of the conservative group American Conservative Union. But even those that acknowledge Trump could get frustrated with the criticism say the president has come to terms with what they say is inevitable. Democrats will always find a reason to criticize him. The die is already cast, quote unquote, said a former administration official. If they had witnesses, they would say he got off for some reason or some other reason. It's never enough. Trump has spent 3 years blasting those who have suggested he only won the 2016 race against Democrat Hillary Clinton because he got help from Russia. I won not because of Russia, not because of anybody but myself. He bristled after former President Jimmy Carter called him illegitimate. And even before the trial ended, Democrat leaders were calling the trial a sham. You cannot be acquitted if you don't have a trial, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from California, said last Thursday. You don't have a trial if you don't have witnesses and documentation and all of that. At the start of the trial, Trump appeared frustrated, blasted out a record number of tweets, many that singled out House Democrats for what he has dubbed a sham and a hoax. By the end of the second week of the trial, though, he watched the trial less, according to two people, including a Republican close to the president and former senior administration official who remains close to the White House, dubbing the arguments boring. His tweet storms has subsided somewhat, and he spoke less often to the media. "This is a happy period for us," he said at a campaign rally in Iowa Thursday night. "It's a happy period because we call this impeachment light." Trump was buoyed after his staff showed him focus group results in battleground states that revealed a slight uptick in his approval rating, as well as rising Republican poll numbers in swing House districts, according to two people. "It's over," the Republican said. "It's coming to an end." Several times during the past 2 weeks, the Republican said Trump has recalled a recent interview he gave to veteran Washington Post journalist Bob Woodward, who is working on a new book. Woodward asked the president how he could be happy during the impeachment process. Trump told Woodward that he had the greatest job in the world and is blessed with a wonderful family and successful business. "What's not to be happy about?" Trump told Woodward, according to the Republican. In his impeachment trial, Trump was accused of conditioning millions of dollars in military aid to Ukraine, as well as a much-desired White House meeting for the country's leader on Kyiv, launching an investigation into Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Trump and his allies contend that the desired probe was part of a broader effort to eradicate corruption and uncover foreign wrongdoing in the 2016 presidential race, not an attempt to undermine a potential 2020 rival. The House impeached Trump over the scheme, approving two articles, one alleging abuse of power and the other alleging obstruction of Congress. But Senate Republicans have not broken with the president. Still, Trump and his aides briefly alarmed 2 weekends ago when the New York Times published details of a draft of former National Security Advisor John Bolton's new memoir that undercut Trump's Ukraine story. Bolton said Trump directly linked the aid holdup to Ukraine, launching Trump's desired investigations. But by the middle of last week, it appeared the Senate didn't have enough Republicans to call witnesses like Bolton, and calm returned at the White House. The "oh-ish" feeling, quote-unquote, is gone, said the former administration official. But in some conservative circles, Trump allies actually wanted the Senate to call witnesses, arguing that Trump couldn't be fully vindicated unless senators heard testimony from everyone, including figures like Joe and Hunter Biden. Steve Cortez, a member of the president's re-election committee, said he preferred a full slate of witnesses, in part because he wanted not just acquittal, but rather full exoneration. In addition to the Bidens, people like Cortez wanted to get other long-shot witnesses like impeachment leader Representative Adam Schiff and the anonymous whistleblower whose complaint sparked the impeachment probe. The goal was to embarrass Democrats and show the public that the Bidens are corrupt. And recently, as the first week of the trial, Trump told reporters he would like his own aides to testify, singling out Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Acting Chief of Staff Mike Mulvaney, even Bolton. "I would rather interview a lot of people," he told reporters. "Personally, I'd rather go the long route." Trump declined to participate in impeachment proceedings in the Democratic-controlled House, where his legal and political aides advised that his involvement would only legitimize the process, yet he has since blustered in public about presenting his own defense, alarming aides and allies when he responded to Pelosi's suggestion that Trump come forward and give his side of the story in person or in writing. "I'd love to go. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be beautiful?" he told reporters. "I don't know. I'd sort of love sit right in the front row and stare at their corrupt faces. I'd love to do it." But Trump eventually acceded to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's push for a quick drama trial and advocated for no witnesses. Trump deferred to McConnell, in part because he has come to respect the Senate leader's command of the chamber's rules after watching him push through a tax overhaul bill and scores of conservative judges. In recent days, Trump tweeted that he didn't want witnesses. White House aides warned senators that having witnesses would take weeks or months to fight in court. No matter how many witnesses you give the Democrats, no matter how much information is given, likely the quickly produced transcripts, it will never be enough for them, Trump tweeted Tuesday. They will always scream unfair. The impeachment hoax is just another political con job. In the White House, taking points sent to surrogates, lawmakers and Capitol Hill aides emphasized the need to move on. House Democrats utterly failed to make their case when they had the chance. According to White House talking points obtained by Politico, now they're trying to make up for their failure and salvage their baseless sham by insisting the Senate called new witnesses to testify. On Friday, senators voted to move on without witnesses. On Wednesday, they voted to move on for good.